In this video, we're going to be making Rochester plate sauce to use in the famous Rochester garbage plate. It's a rainy day up in the Thousand Islands, and here you can see I start my prep by heating a pan and getting my onions prepared. A coarse dice will be fine. Some extra texture in the sauce is always good. Bonus points if you're listening to some Joy Wave or enjoying a delicious Genesee beer. Go ahead and add a little bit of vegetable oil to your warming pan. Then we'll go ahead and toss in those onions to start softening them up, getting them nice and translucent. While those onions are getting nice and soft, we'll go ahead and get a little bit of garlic prepared. Smash that garlic up nice and good and get it into a fine mince. Once the onions are nice and soft, we'll go ahead and add that garlic in and start cooking that down too. Once those veggies have softened up and are getting real fragrant, we can go ahead and start crumbling in our 80-20 ground beef. I like to use 80-20 here because it's got a decent amount of fat in it, which helps pull out some of those flavors that we'll get from the seasoning blend. I prefer a real fine texture on my plate sauce, so I try and get these crumbles as small as possible. In fact, if I'm at home, I'll often take the stick blender to the final sauce while it's simmering. That way the texture gets really fine and smooth. Now let's talk about seasoning. The key to Rochester plate sauce is the blend of spices and a little bit of brown sugar for added sweetness. Here's my seasoning blend. I'll have a recipe link in the description for all the details on what goes into it. You want to get your ground beef as nice and dry as you can. We want to get some good browning on that beef, because browning is flavor. And don't worry if any of it sticks to the bottom of the pan. We'll scrape up that fond once we add our liquids. Speaking of which, the first is some water, about 2 cups worth. Just go ahead and dump that in. Follow that up with about a 1/4 cup of salsa. You can always add more to taste. Then about a 1/4 cup of ketchup. Some Frank's Red Hot to taste. And a little dollop of yellow mustard to round things out. Let's just stir that up and get that all incorporated. Once we've got that stirred in, we can go ahead and add in some of our spice blend. I usually just eyeball how much I'm adding. I can always add more in later if it needs it. It's a nice rainy day up here in the Thousand Islands. Perfect day for letting our plate sauce simmer and fill the whole cabin full of delicious Rochester plate sauce smells. We want to let our plate sauce simmer for at least an hour to let all those flavors really meld together. Give it a stir every once in a while and add additional water if it's starting to get a little dry. Clark here is dreaming about Rochester plates. Plates. Here we are about 1 hour later. As you can see, the sauce has tightened up quite considerably. We'll give it one final stir to make sure everything's nice and incorporated. Now we give it a little taste and see if we need to adjust any of our seasoning. I think this needs just a little bit more brightness in the form of some of our salsa. We'll just stir that in and everything will be good to go. Yeah, this is smelling quite delicious. Wish you guys could smell it too. I guess you'll just have to follow this recipe in order to make your own, in order to experience this Rochester culinary delicacy. We'll give this one final taste. Oh yeah, now all we need is our hamburgers, hot dogs, mac salad, and home fries. Put everything together and smother it in that plate sauce, and now you're eating a real Rochester-style garbage plate. Garnish it with some onions and some extra ketchup and mustard. Maybe throw in a couple dill pickles just for added measure. Enjoy!